My name is Jermey Edmonson. A common misconception about Black Lives Matter is that it's a hate group. People start turning it into this thing that whoever wants to claim to be part of this group, that we're anti-white, and that's not what it's about. And it's not anti-cop either, right? It's just there's this thing going on in the world, right, and specifically in the United States, towards black people or towards African Americans, that we're trying to put out there for people to see. But it's definitely, there's that it's a racist, and they compare Black Lives Matter to Black Panthers, which still, to me, Black Panthers was never a bad thing, right? They started policing their own community because the police, obviously, there was brutality still happening in the community. That's the major misconception that I get about Black Lives Matter. It's fear. It's fear of not knowing, to me. And if you don't know something about a group, if you don't do your research, then you start making up your own assumptions. We are trying to be socially just, to help, to promote equality, to me, is what I'm getting out of it. And that's just what I took out of it, which mine is through dance or through movement. That's how I have to express it. I do post a lot on social media, and I get a lot of backlash for it, but that's fine. So Black Lives Matter came into a forefront for me. Sandra Bland happened, and that's who got pulled over for, she didn't signal to turn, and she went to jail, and then 3 days later she was dead. And then people got her mugshot, and they started saying she was dead in her mugshot. So I started looking more into it. That's honestly that's how Black Lives Matter really came into my life. And I was like, no, there's a real issue going on. And then it was like Philando Castro, right? It was Eric Garner. Things started happening back and back and back. I was like, this is a real issue going on, and I have been pushing that aside. And that is me. That is me getting pulled over. I am Trayvon Martin, or I was Trayvon Martin. I'm older than him, right? That was me. I have been a boy walking down the street with just a candy bar and a drink. What would I say to All Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter? First, I'll say to All Lives Matter, that was a counterpart. That was just a counteract to Black Lives Matter, because no one was saying that prior, right? Until black people started saying Black Lives Matter. If we never would have said anything, All Lives Matter would have never been a thing. But the Blue Lives Matter, that really pissed me off, because I don't ask to be black, right? I can't take this off at the end of the, I don't go home and say, woo, I'm done being, I did my 8 hours being black. No, I have to wake up and be black the next day, period. They chose that career path, so you know what you're getting yourself into, right? And it's for anything. I'm a dancer, I know that I can get injured, but all of a sudden am I gonna get mad? No. If I get injured, I'm not gonna go get mad at somebody else. I'm no, I knew this is what I signed up for. The whole world was listening to me, and I was speaking about Black Lives Matter. I would tell them, wake up. It's there. It's not going anywhere. And it's just not going back to when you asked me to identify myself or talk about myself, that it's not just about me, right? And it's not just about being a dark-skinned African American. It's about this light skin, right? But then it's just not about being light-skinned. Then you have the Asian community, but it's not just about them, right? You have Latino community, but it's not just about them. But then you do have white people who are there to fight, So it's a whole circle, right? But then you have LGBTQ, because if this wasn't even about Black Lives Matter, I would still post, I would still be there, I would still fight, right? It hits home because it's me, that's what I identify as, but I'm not, as a human being, when someone's hurting, when someone's suffering, right? We feel that, it's there, and it's not about this religious, spiritual thing, but you can walk down the street and you're oh, that person's not, something's wrong, And wrong is wrong and right is right. For this situation, a lot of people have wanted to meet middle ground, and that's so annoying. And that's why this anger does happen, right? People are I just had told an instructor of mine, because she was saying, how do we meet people halfway when they don't realize what they said, or they don't know what they're doing? I'm people do know what they're doing. We're human beings. After a while, we know what we're doing. When you say something that hurts somebody's feelings, because when it comes out, you step back and you're did I really just say that? For people to be in the background, that's not happening. No, it's happening. It's happening. And that black people, we always get told to find the middle ground. So when we, first they get mad, yes, black people, they riot, and they're tearing stuff up, burning stuff down, and people no, don't riot like that. You need to get more peaceful. So then we do peaceful marches, and no, don't do that either. So okay, so then we have Colin Kaepernick, right, who kneels. I'm no, don't do it like that either. I don't know what else you want. I don't know what else we can do. So what you mean is that you want to silence us. History's already around me. right? I don't look at Skittles and tea the same anymore. Where I don't even want to wear, but I don't like wearing hoodies anymore. Like, I don't like wearing hoodies because I don't know what's gonna happen. I see a stop sign, I am nervous. I'm like, or a stop light, right? Sandra Bland, that's what happened. Or like, I'm making sure I'm signaling. I'm like, no, I'm gonna make sure left, right, left. Like, I'm making sure I'm doing these things. If I see a black person smoking a cigarette, I'm like, hey, maybe you should make sure you're not selling those probably because, you know, you have people getting choked out. Or don't sell CDs because you're trying to provide for your family. You know, I just don't see these things anymore because that's the first thing that pops in my mind. And it's sad that the death of black bodies has to be this big thing, right? For the picture, that it has to be this memorable thing. Like, oh yeah, like a stop sign. I don't want to say that black bodies have to be that, but that is what it is for me now.